Fish. Another good one.
What's up, Team Dink? We just got to the lake. You've seen me fish here a couple times, but today I'm not super focused on catching fish. What I'm more focused on is learning a new style of fishing, that being BFS. What is BFS? Well, it's basically Bait Finesse Style. Basically, it's a finesse bait caster. As we all know, spinning gear and casting gear both have pros and cons. One of the cons with a normal casting reel is the fact that it can't cast lightweight stuff like a Ned rig or other small baits. Well, Bait Finesse Style changes that. One of the biggest things about a casting reel that I love is the ability to cast super accurately. Because you can slow that spool down on a bait caster, you can really place lures accurately and softly in the water. A spinning reel doesn't do quite as good at that. So essentially what I'm saying is a finesse bait caster that can cast little stuff could be huge. Honestly, BFS has been growing for years and I've never really paid it a whole lot of attention, but I decided finally the time has come. And now you might be wondering, what setups did I get? Well, actually I bought them from a couple of you. Micah sold me a Shimano Aldebaran. It's actually left-handed, so I'm gonna have to learn if I'm ambidextrous. And Mark sold me a Fishband GH100. It's also left-handed. I have no idea how I'm gonna do with this whole ambidextrous thing. If I decide I absolutely cannot reel left-handed, I'll have to just sell them and get right-handed models, but I'm pretty confident in myself. I mean, I can shoot pool with my left hand, so why can't I reel a fish in with my left hand? Guess we'll find out.
Okay, so like I said, I've got 2 reels. I'm gonna get a rod for this one. What I'm gonna plan on getting is a little 5 or 5.5 foot ultralight, and I'm really gonna plan on using this fish band for trout fishing. The Aldebaran, on the other hand, I got from Micah, and he actually sold me it with the rod. It's a 7-foot light action, and I think this is gonna be a super good bass fishing combo, especially for stuff like Ned rigs, small swim baits, maybe some small like cranks and jerk baits. Now just remember that BFS it's not for, you know, a weightless Senko. It's not for traditional bass gear. It's really for light stuff. And this is probably about as big as I'll go, this little Ned rig right here. And before we go any further, I want to make something very clear. I am not at all a BFS expert. So if you're looking for expert tips, find another channel. Eventually I would love to be a BFS expert, but I'm just learning, okay? I'm just learning. Anyways, let's get to fishing. Let's see what we think about this whole BFS thing. I can cast a Ned rig really far with a casting reel. That's weird. It's amazing. This is a 7-foot light action rod, probably about as heavy as I will go for BFS. I don't think this is really like made for BFS. It just happens to be a light rod. I think it's gonna work really well for stuff like Ned rigs. Overall though, I mean, as far as first impressions go, this thing's smooth as heck. And this is a 1/15 ounce jig with a light plastic on it, and I am just bombing it, no problem. I think this is like 10-pound braid, and then I've got like a 8-pound fluorocarbon leader on there. Gosh, it feels weird reeling left-handed. Okay, I gotta keep moving. This spot's not really looking very good. Okay, I remember last time I was here, I noticed this dock is actually super deep. With a nice overcast day like this, I could see a few suspending underneath it. Buddy Jacob's gonna meet me out here. He'll probably be here in about 15-20 minutes. After using the Ned rig on a spinning rod and reel for like 10 years, this feels like a sin. To be completely honest, I've only fished here for bass one time, and I only fished it for an hour. I did catch one nice one, but I don't know what kind of population we have here. It has been nice and warm the last couple days, so maybe they're shallower up on the weed beds, who knows? I'm super excited, like, just to see how a BFS reel performs when it comes to like fighting a decent fish. You know, I wanna see how smooth that drag is. I mean, I've got it set to where I think it's probably, I probably could crank down just a little bit more. Yeah, that's probably about right. The one thing I wish that this BFS reel had would be like this similar clicking style drag as a spinning reel. I don't necessarily know if it's a big deal or not, but it's just nice to know kind of when they're pulling drag. No matter what happens today, just stay tuned. Fish. Stay tuned for future videos. Man, this is weird. Not a bad little bass. How are we gonna land this guy? That's a good question. He's trying to jump. Oh, little head shaker. Guys, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm gonna have to try to, oh look, here we go. Okay, we're gonna have to go land this guy over by the bank. Probably am not super comfortable to swing this fish. I don't wanna really break it the first day I get it, you know? There we have it. BFS bass, I like it. Little guy, but I tell you what, that was a nice little fight on a casting reel. Okay, well there you have it. This guy right here, pretty cool. You know, that was a fun little fight for a casting rod. It's really weird, like not being able to horse them in on a casting rod and reel. Super intrigued. I'm just gonna have to catch more fish with this thing to really understand how I really feel about it. Overall, I felt pretty good about that. That was fun. You know, where I see BFS being important to me is tight quarters where accuracy is important, but you also need to be fishing with light gear. Trout makes total sense. Potentially some creek largemouth. I don't know, some bigger sunfish would be pretty cool if you're kind of fishing in some creeks and whatnot. I don't know if on lakes it's gonna make a ton of difference or not, but I guess time will tell. I love this, man. This reel is smooth as heck. I see a few bluegill up shallow. If the bluegill are still up shallow, the bass probably will be not too far behind. Okay, we've made some moves. We're up on the other side of the lake now, trying to find deeper weed beds. Such a large percentage of this lake is just really shallow. Is that a fish? Yeah, that's a fish. It's a little guy. God, it feels so weird reeling left-handed. Little guy on the BFS, but I'll take it. At this point, just getting the feel for this rod and reel is all I'm about today, so I'm good with fish this size too. Man, I am the dink master, you know that. Dink Slayer strikes again. He'll grow up to be a lunker. I know he will. Go ahead, buddy. I am the BFS bandit now, folks. I legit didn't even know if that was a fish or if that was a snag at first, because he just wasn't really fighting, and then he started pulling a little bit. Setting the hook with my right hand is obviously hard, but what's nice about BFS is you're using lighter gear, so you don't have to like jack them like you would with, you know, like a jig or something. So it's gonna be an easier transition, I believe. I think it'd be so epic to get like a 4-pounder on this thing. Fish. Fish. That was such a weird bite. I went to shake my rod a little bit, and he was just there. Little guy. Man. We're totally oh, missed him. He popped off. I'm not that worried about missing that fish. It was about the size of the last one, maybe a little bigger, maybe 7 inches instead of 6. Here we go. 3-pounder coming up. If it gets down in the weeds, rip it out. Fish, fish. As I popped it out of the weeds, makes sense. Actually, this feels like a little bit better one. Oh yeah. Man, this is such a weird deal, reeling left-handed. Yeah, it's a decent fish. I knew there'd be a decent one over here. I don't know if I should loosen my drag or what. God, he's a good one. This is fun. I like this BFS setup. I really do. Okay, let's, oh buddy. Almost wonder if I need to loosen my drag just a hair. We're all right. There you have it. Shimano Aldebaran, little Ned rig, decent bass, not bad at all. Boom, boom, boom. Fish. 2 casts in a row. Another decent one. Actually, I wonder how big this is. It's so hard to tell on this rod and reel. Actually, this one's a little bigger, I think. Similar size. Similar size. A little bigger. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. BFS, baby. Decent fish, actually. Boom. Folks, I like this combo. I really do. Man, right in the noggin. Beautiful bass right there. Probably about 16.5 inches, maybe 17. Not a bad fish. 2 casts in a row. Can't complain about that. When you start getting bogged down, you're not gonna pull it out of the weeds by just slowly pulling. You gotta, it'll snap out and that hook will rip through the grass. I knew there'd be some here. It just looked too good. We got wind blowing over the top, good weed bed, deeper water. Makes too much sense. Fish. Another good one. Or so it feels. Oh my Lord, we might have ourselves a nice one. Actually pulled some drag. Oh, I like this setup, I really do. Reeling left-handed on the other end, I'm not entirely sure about that. Folks, what is this? What do we have here? Come on, big mama. Let's get this big mama. We got some big mama drama going on, folks. Really? Oh boy. God, I like this setup, I really do. For sure, for sure. Best fish. Boom shakalaka, boom, that's a big head. That's a big head if I've ever seen one. Give me that fish. Welp, what do you think about that, folks? Oh, light line, little casting rod, Ned rig, just pouncing on them in this spot. Look at that fish, isn't she healthy? Just a gorgeous fish, look at that kicker on her. God, you think where the thrust comes from? Right there, just some beef. You like beef, you like some sirloin? That is sirloin frickin' beef, baby. Boom, shaka, laka, let's go. The fact that I can actually reel these fish in left-handed is making me very impressed with myself.
Folks, I tell you what, I love the BFS setup. Stay tuned for more BFS content in the future, but for the rest of the day, I'm gonna focus more so on hanging out with my buddy Jacob and trying to get him on some Ned rig fish. You guys know I love the Ned rig, you know I love teaching about the Ned rig, and I'm gonna do that in person here, and I'm gonna focus on that. You know what, I'm gonna stop rambling. We'll catch you next time.